Shabbat Shalom to everybody who's watching our live stream. Anybody online? Welcome to Shabbat services. Glad to have you with us. We're on page 170 of the prayer book. Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam. Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam. Shechazarta b'nishmati b'chemla, Shechazarta b'nishmati b'chemla, Shechazarta b'nishmati b'chemla. Rabba emunatecha, Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam. Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam. We're going to take turns reading. I'm also going to use the songbook for at least one song, so if you don't have one, go grab one. Page 173. We're reading the English passages. Sarah, would you like to begin? Yep.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware, we would lack the strength to sustain life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our help and strength.
Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. This is a setting for the prayer that's on page 174, but it's not in the songbook. But it's a very simple setting, and I think you'll be able to pick this up. Awaken my soul to all its potential. A letter unique in an infinite scroll. Both a guest and a gift in this life I am living. May I be for a blessing as I come and I go. I come and I go. That's it. Awaken my soul to all its potential. A letter unique in an infinite scroll. A letter unique in an infinite scroll. Both a guest and a gift. Both a guest and a gift in this life I am living. May I be for a blessing. May I be for a blessing as I come and I go. I come and I go. Awaken my soul to all its potential. A letter unique in an infinite scroll. Both a guest and a gift in this life I am living. May I be for a blessing as I come and I go. 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 Page 178. We're going to read together at the bottom of the page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Continuing in English on page 179. Robin.
Adonai our God, make the words of your Torah sweet to us and to the house of Israel, your people, that we and our children may be lovers of your name and students of your Torah. We praise you, O God, teacher of Torah to our people Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai hamelamed Torah la'amo Yisrael. Page 180. Beth, would you please continue?
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
Page 184 is Psalm 92, but I'm going to do an English setting for this in the songbook on page 34 of the songbook. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. On this the day of days, my lips shall sing your praise, for I know that you'll always be here surrounding me. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. My spirit takes release. I close my eyes in peace, and from my soul heard far above springs a song of love. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. I wish to understand the wonders of your hand, for all the blessings that are mine rise from your design. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Back in the prayer book on page 193. And let's see. At the bottom of the page, are we up to Trish? Is that where we're up to?
Yes.
Bottom of 193.
May you always be praised, great and holy God, our sovereign in heaven and on earth. We offer
page 195. We're going to read together in the middle. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. Hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam bechochma asita, mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, v'al me'orei or she'asita yifa'arucha selah. Or chadash al Zion ta'ir, v'nizkechu lanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'me'orot. Page 199. Skylar, do you want to do a reading? No? Okay. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity. We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully, we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel. And joyfully, we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose. May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael ba'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, Bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'aderech Uvishochbecha, uvikumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'ayuletotafot beinenecha, uktavtam, mizuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, leman tizkaru, vasitem et kol mitzvotai, vitem kedoshim lelohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 204. Yisrael. Yisrael, Bezrat Yisrael, Ufendechidu Mecha Yehuda Yisrael, Go Aleinu Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael, Sur Yisrael, Kuma Kuma Sur Yisrael, Kuma Kuma Sur Yisrael, Kuma Kuma Sur Yisrael, Kuma Kuma. Page 205. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Arkita Hilatecha Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Arkita Hilatecha. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Agita Hilatecha Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Agita Hilatecha. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. I'd like to continue reading the first part of the Amidah in English, so we'll keep taking turns. Page 206. Sarah, would you like to read?
Source of all being, we turn to you as did our people in ancient days. They beheld you in the heavens. They felt you in their hearts. They sought you in their lives. Their quest is ours.
Help us to see the wonder of being. Give us the courage to search for truth. Teach us the path to a better life. So shall we, by our lives and our labors, bring nearer the world we envision, one of justice, freedom, and peace. Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Page 207, Robin.
You are the open door that beckons me in. Peeking around the doorframe, I begin to enter into your dwelling. You move me forward, O Eternal, 2 steps beyond self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you in the house of the Eternal. I found my questions waiting to be posed. They fill me with wonder. Sick of the eternal teaching. Encourage my speaking. They fill my hours with your mitzvot. So shall I be filled. Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, sharing out this wonder, enriching myself in the giving. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to
Ata Adonai, Mechaye Hakol. Ata Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, Kadoshim b'chol yomi halelucha selah. Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. And on page 211 at the bottom of the page.
The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under the tyranny of things of space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world.
Baruch Atah Adonai, V'kadesh Shabbat. I love that passage.
That Heschelian, that's a word, Heschelian passage. And I am curious, thank you for joining us in Zoom, Liz and Howard. You are probably feet apart from one another, inside and outside. But I am curious because I realize how difficult it is watching the service on Zoom with us reading parts in the room. Are you able to hear the readers besides me at all? Yes? Wow. Fabulous. I don't know what you've done, but you made it work. Thank you. Okay, we're going to continue on page 212, and let's take turns reading paragraphs. Trish?
On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others.
Teach us humility
That we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves, and the charity to see the best in those around us.
Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you.
Let's read together. We praise you, Adonai,
whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Page 216, at the bottom of the page.
Never become complacent, faltering in our effort to build a world of peace, that the nations know and understand that justice and right are better than dominion and conquest. May all come to see that it is not by power nor by might, but by your spirit that love prevails.
Praise are you,
Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Let's pray silently. Yehiyu leratzon imre fi vehegyon lipi lefanecha Adonai tzuri v'goali Adonai tzuri v'goali. It does not appear I'm going to be able to read Torah today, but I'd like for us to be able to do a little text study of the Haftarah reading for today, because it's got some really special stuff in it. So without the formality of the blessings, let's get copies of the Torah commentary, and we'll take a look at a piece of the Haftarah. Too much to juggle. Yeah. But I appreciate it. Thank you. So I want to make sure that Liz and Howard can join in if they want to, if there's. Okay, but also in case you have something you want to say, so that you can unmute yourself. I want to make sure we've got an ability to hear them. I don't know if you have to flip the speaker on and off. So if you turn in the Chumash to page 1461. This is Malachi chapter 3. And I'm starting in verse 22. This is the very end of the Haftarah reading for Shabbat HaGadol. So the Torah portion is Parshat Tzav, but we're not reading the Haftarah for Parshat Tzav, and that's because Shabbat Hagadol, the Sabbath before Pesach, doesn't always fall on the same parashah. And this is easy to understand if you think that in a leap year, you would insert another month at Adar, the month before Nisan. We're in Nisan now, so you would be moving, you would have the extra Torah readings coming up in between those extra 4 weeks. So Shabbat Hagadol, which is always the Sabbath before Pesach, doesn't always wind up on the same Torah reading. So whatever Torah reading it happens to be, you substitute the Haftarah for Shabbat Hagadol for that week's Haftarah. So we're not looking at the Haftarah for Parshat Tzav, we're looking at the Haftarah for Shabbat Hagadol. Comes from Malachi, and the thing to know about Malachi is the last prophet. Chronologically speaking, he's not the last one in the book of prophets, he's the last one in the line of prophets, and the rabbis decreed that after Malachi, prophecy ceased in Israel. So none of us get to claim to be prophets. Sorry. In case you were thinking of applying for it, going to school, getting a degree in prophecy, prophetic you. No, it's not a thing. Yeah. So Malachi is in that post-exilic period. He's in the period when Judea is under Persian rule. They have their own governor, a Judean governor, but they don't actually have the monarchy has not been reestablished. Malachi refers to a coming time, a time of judgment. So we're in verse 22, and who are we up to for readers? I can get somebody else to read out loud.
Yeah.
Remember the Torah of Moses, my servant. The statutes and ordinances I commanded him at Horeb for all Israel. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and terrible day of the Eternal, to turn the hearts of parents to their children, and the hearts of children to their parents. Wouldn't that be nice? Lest I come and smite the land with destruction. Not a cheery note to end the passage on. Consequently, in the Haftarah reading for Shabbat Hagadol, they then repeat the previous verse. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and terrible day of the Eternal. You can't end a Haftarah reading on a negative note. So here, the word translated terrible is norah, awesome. It's not like bad, but might be terrifying. So interesting things about the passage. There's several really interesting things about the passage that jump out at me. Anybody want to comment?
What's the great and awesome day of the eternal? What is that?
So Malachi is clearly alluding to a belief that he has that
Doesn't appear in earlier prophets. It actually might appear in one of the other post-exilic prophets. I don't know that. But it's an idea distinctive to Malachi that there is coming a day of God, and that something is going to happen then. Some form of judgment is going to take place. Something is going to be turned over in the way things exist. It's almost apocalyptic. It sounds a little like what we would read in the book of Daniel, which is later than Malachi, but Daniel, remember, is not a prophet. He's not in the books of the prophets. He's in the writings. So He doesn't get accorded the status of prophet. They call it a historical book. But Daniel's weird, whereas Malachi is, you could follow it, but he's alluding to some belief in a coming day. And then he goes on to say, or he tells you, I'm going to send you Elijah before that day arrives. And as a consequence, we get out of Malachi. Here is where we get the idea that Elijah will tell us the time of the coming of the Messianic age. Elijah will be the messenger who says the time is coming. It's about to arrive.
So I scanned the part before,
Uh-huh.
earlier, before the ending. And it is disturbing.
It's dark. It's a very dark prophecy.
Well, it's dark, but it's dark in a couple of ways. I mean, it's got this, y'all aren't doing it right. You're keeping your money. So, so you're not actually paying to support the community. Or you're not doing what you need to do to support the community. And you're not doing whatever it is, in addition, you're not doing a bunch of other stuff right. And some people are then doing it right. And then we have this ending which doesn't quite fit with either of those things. And so, hang on. So, in other words, the first part is those people who aren't doing it right and those people who are doing it right. And maybe you're going to be spared because of the people who are doing it right. And the second part is God's going to be judging you, and by the way, parents and children need to come together. Is the implication that the it feels like there's two different groups. Are those parents and children? I'm confused.
No, there is the righteous and the wicked, and in Malachi's prophecy, the wicked are doomed.
Yeah, sounds pretty.
The righteous will be saved.
Yeah.
But he is yes, it's apocalyptic. He is suggesting that we live in a time of the dissolution of the fabric of family life.
Mm-hmm.
That the way Malachi sees the society he lives in is that there's this disconnect between parents and children, that family structure is broken down.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees this as one of the critical problems of the society that he lives in. It's very interesting. You've got all this righteous and wicked stuff, but then there's also this problem that families just don't have the unity that they used to have. It seems to be what he's saying. God will turn them back to one another, which I find remarkable, in particular because it's bilateral. It's not children will learn to obey their parents. No, it's actually the hearts of children and parents will come together again.
I think we have a moment for a song here.
So it's and then I think that this is really the thing that makes this, to my way of thinking, it's not why this is read on Shabbat HaGadol, but I think it is perfect as the lead into Pesach. It's read on Shabbat HaGadol because he talks about maybe it is why it's the lead into, or why it's read on this week. But why do we get the name Shabbat HaGadol? Because he speaks of the great and terrible day. Yom Adonai HaGadol HaNorah. So Shabbat HaGadol, the great Sabbath, is really just quoting from Malachi. It's a reference to reading this passage about the great and terrible day of God that is coming. But here we get like this suggestion that, Elijah's coming back. Elijah's going to be back. Which is just, you think about it, like, he's been dead for hundreds of years.
And this is the only place where it says Elijah's coming back?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure, but I believe that this is it. That this is where we get the reference to Elijah as a character. No longer the historical figure, but as a folk legend. Elijah will come and tell us. Now, obviously, all the stories about Elijah are legendary too. But even though Elijah is carried off by God's chariot, you know, he doesn't die, he's carried off into heaven and stuff. We don't have this, we don't have other literature that says, oh, and by the way, he comes back. Here it says he's coming back. And therefore, it's a perfect setup for Pesach, where because Pesach is the holiday of redemption, that, oh, Elijah might come to the Seder, because maybe this will be the day of redemption. Maybe this, as it was for our ancestors in Egypt, maybe it will be the time of redemption for us as well. Consequently, we lay out, Elijah's supposed to come and show up. And we're going to open the door for Elijah. That's actually more significant than the cup of wine for Elijah. It's the opening of the door for Elijah, that he might show up. The cup you probably know about. The cup is not for Elijah to drink. It's because we don't know whether there are 4 or 5 cups. The rabbis debated whether there should be 4 or 5 cups, because they argued over whether there are 4 or 5 verbs that reference the liberation of the Hebrew slaves and their redemption. So they said, since we can't agree whether there are 4 or 5, we'll drink 4, we'll put the 5th one on the table, and when Elijah comes, he'll tell us whether we get to drink the 5th one. So it's not for Elijah to drink, but we do open the door for Elijah. And here he is, Malachi saying, he's coming, he'll be here. God is sending Elijah as the advance messenger to say this great day is about to arrive. Perfect setup for Pesach. Other comments?
I'll continue.
Yeah.
So,
It says something in the chat, maybe unmute. What is unmute? Oh, yeah.
Liz, are you able to unmute?
yeah. You're gonna need to turn, getting Howard to turn his computer off. So in a serious mode, I mean, besides the fact that from time immemorial, the family's falling apart is a constant refrain. But if Malachi is worried about the family disillusionment, and we get this idea that Elijah will come back, did the rabbis, or was there any discussion that the fact that we have Seder as a family-oriented celebration and bringing the family together and teaching the children a story, is that all part of bringing Elijah back?
That is brilliant. I had not drawn the connection. It's such a wonderful way of viewing this text coming alive, that, well, we'll bring parents and children together, and maybe that will encourage Elijah's arrival. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It warrants taking the passage and sticking it into the Haggadah, doesn't it? It's surprised me that it's not there.
It could be.
It could be, yeah. Yeah, there's something really fixed about the Haggadah. It's something that, it doesn't actually have to be these particular words.
So
Yeah.
has anybody, our acts of goodness and repairing the world as part of our discussion and theme in terms of bringing about, this, it's almost I'm wondering if it's too messianic a theory that we have this part to play in bringing about the Moshiach and Elijah's announcement thereof?
Well,
Is bringing the family together and having a Seder and telling the story as a theory of encouraging Elijah to come back, encouraging the Moshiach, is that too messianic a message for?
well, Trish wants to comment.
I
Go
do,
ahead.
I do, because I think that actually leads, that actually puts together the first part and the second part. So the first part is, I will draw near to you for justice. I myself will be swift to witness against sorcerers, adulterers, those who swear falsely. Skip this, folks. Yeah, those who extort the wages of workers, oppress widows and orphans, and who thrust aside strangers, all those who do not fear me, says God of heaven's hosts. And then it jumps down and says, can anyone cheat God? Yet you do cheat me. You have not, given your tithes and sacred contributions, not contributed to the community. So very specifically, what this leads to is building the fabric of society. And if you then take that to the parents and children together, you've got the how do you begin building the fabric of society? You start with the family and build out from there.
Okay. Liz, I'm not certain that there is a quid pro quo here. If we have a Pesach Seder with the family, therefore we are bringing the Messianic age, but rather that this is a characteristic of what Messianic times will be like. So I do not know that there is in the rabbinic view a notion that we can bring the Messiah if we do these steps. That's a very Hasidic kind of concept. I don't think that that's necessarily implied, but it is of a piece with what the Messianic age will look like. And we model that through our own actions and, like what you were saying, Trish, through our acts of justice.
Okay, good, because I'm more comfortable with that now.
Yeah, I don't think that we are not able to compel God, no matter what we do. But we can create the world that, what is it, it's the Gandhi thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm now more comfortable with what I was first saying than I almost became.
Be that change that you want to see. I'm going to finish off with just one interesting side note here. If you look in verse 22, it says,
Zichru Torat Moshe Avdi. It's interesting. It says the Torah of Moses. Here we have a passage in the post-exilic period specifically identifying the Torah as being something that Moses wrote. This is Moses' Torah. I find that particularly interesting. It's mostly a post-exilic concept. Presumably, Malachi is actually talking about the Torah. We don't know for certain, but it's very possible that he does mean the Torah here, as opposed to more generically instruction, the teaching of Moses, because the word Torah could mean either thing.
I was just looking at the first word in the Hebrew, Zikru.
Yeah. It does have a large Zion, yeah. So
It means y'all, doesn't it?
Zichru means remember.
You all remember.
Right, that's correct. It's an imperative verb.
So the fact that it's large, it's you guys
It
remember.
could be for emphasis. That is true. We never really know about these large and small letters, but it's possible that it's done for emphasis. Okay, thank you for studying the text with me. We're going to conclude the service Aleinu, page 282. Please rise. The bottom of the page. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latet gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notet Shamayim V'Yosed Haaretz, Umoshav Yikaro B'Shamayim Mima'al, Ushrinatu Zo, B'Govhei Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Einod, Emet Malkeinu Efezulato, Kakatu b'torato v'yadata yom v'hashevota elevavecha ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shamayim mimal v'al haaretz mitachat einod v'nemar v'yadonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yihye Adonai echad ushemo echad. You may be seated. We're going to finish off with the Pesach song, page 361. Avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorin, avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorin, avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorin. Avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorin, avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorin, avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorin. Shabbat Shalom. Chag kasher v'sameach, and have a happy Passover, everybody.